valiantly. Come on, don't let this go to waste, please. Don't give a free kick over. That's fine. Come on. Yes! Fair play, lads. Valiant effort with 10 men. Well done. Reinildo, you are a one lucky man. That is an outstanding point, in my opinion. Look, I know that Villa have started really, really poorly, and don't get me wrong, for them, that's a very poor result. I know they've not started the season very well, and I know that obviously things can't be all rosy at Aston Villa at the minute, but mark my words, they are not a bad team. And I know that they haven't scored a goal, well, prior to today, they hadn't scored a goal, and they still haven't won a game, thankfully, after today. But Villa, I'm convinced, will come good as the season goes on. And I think that Unai Emery is a very good manager for them, and I think they've obviously got... They're in Europe, like I said with Palace last week, Villa are in Europe for a reason. And I think that, look, with Villa, I think in the first half, before Reinildo's red card, and believe me, I will get onto the red card in a minute. With Reinildo's red card, I felt, before the first half, I thought Villa had one fantastic chance that I think Roofs had to save from point blank range. That aside, I felt it was quite an even game. But if you're going to give a team that shaded the chances, it is Aston Villa. But you expect that from them. When you look at the quality that, you know, even like with Buendia starting, even with, you know, Ollie Watkins starting, you've got Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho to come off the bench as well. John McGinn, who's a solid midfielder in this league as well. So they're not a bad team, and I expected us to sort of have to do a lot of the defending and everything else. But when you look at it that way, it was pretty even until the moment Reinildo nearly could have on another day cost us a result. Obviously, for those who haven't seen it, the red card basically is he's in a duel with Matty Cash from Aston Villa. Sunderland win the free kick, which is the thing that frustrates me the most. Sunderland win the free kick. Now, yes, you could say Cash is pushing Reinildo down. From what I can remember, again, guys, bear with me. I need to actually watch it back properly. But so what I'm saying could be subject to change, of course. But he pushed him down. But as he was getting pushed down, Reinildo, I think, kicks upwards towards Matty Cash. So it's basically a high boot, in my opinion. Now, there's been a few people on social media that try to argue that it isn't a red, and that's their opinion, and I'd be interested to know what people, as long as people are respectful about it, then in the comments I'd love to see what people think. For me, it's a clear red card all day long. Other way around, we are absolutely screaming for that red card, and for me, I don't, and by the way, I thought the referee was shocking throughout the whole of the game. I didn't think he had much of a control of it at all. But I do agree with him strongly on this red card. I think this big decision, I think he did get right. I think that it's a reckless, it's needless, it's reckless in my opinion. And I've seen some people argue it's soft. Maybe it is, but in today's day and age, that's a red card. As far as I'm concerned, in today's day and age, that is a red card. You're going to get it, and when VAR backed up the ref's decision, so to me, I think I didn't have many complaints. And had we lost today, I think I would have pointed to that as a pretty big reason why. But obviously, we didn't lose. But I'm still thinking, look, Reinildo. Look, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I know anything can happen in the moment. It's a rush of blood to the head, I would imagine. But when you look at Reinildo's, experience, given how old he is. I know it sounds old considering that a lot of our team's very young, so maybe early 30s seems like ancient to us. But given his experience, for me, I think that's quite poor of him to do that. But again, I don't know what was going through his head, so I'm not going to try and lay into him too much, but I think he'll be quite relieved we got something, put it that way. For the rest of the game, I think it panned out pretty much the way I expected. I thought that Villa would have a lot of the ball, they'd dominate a lot of it. Sunderland, to be credit for them, for the most part, actually did defend really, really well, I think, and they restricted Villa to very, very minimal clear-cut chances from what I can remember. Obviously the goal, from what I've seen, because I was too anxious to even look properly. So if apparently the goal, it goes straight through Roofs, and apparently it's a Roofs mistake, but again, I need to watch it back. It had to be typical that Matty Cash was the one who scored it after everything that's gone on, but it is what it is. I did get annoyed at Labrise for not bringing the subs on earlier, but at the same time, we've got a point. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I want Labrise out or anything like that. It's the one thing about him that does drive me nuts sometimes, is reactiveness when it comes to making substitutions. But again, I've said before, that's not a Regis Labrise thing. That is a Sunderland head coach in general thing. That's something that with most head coaches of Sunderland, I can't stand it for the most part. But however, having said that, Wilson Isidor, I thought from what it looked here, the finish was very composed. And to be fair, we actually created a couple of decent chances in the second half with 10 men. There was one where I think it was, there was a scramble almost on the line, which Villa managed to get clear at the last minute, from what I can remember. So again, guys, bear in mind, I've got the game recorded, so I need to go back and watch certain incidents back, or watch Match of the Day too, I suppose. But having said that, I think you did feel like, okay, it's going to be one of those days where the extra man does tell. But Wilson Isidor did brilliantly for the goal. I thought it looked like to me in the penalty area, he's getting slightly dragged back as he's about to open his angle up, open his body up, get the angle going, and manages to drill it past Martinez. And of course, the Stadium of Light, as always, went absolutely ballistic when the goal went in. And I think it was a kind of a release of frustration given what had gone on in the game. Villa did create a great chance right at the very end in stoppage time, which they would argue they should have taken. And had that happened, I do think we did deserve a point, but I would have been fuming had that gone in after all that effort to switch off in that last minute. But thankfully we got away with it. And I do appreciate, to be fair to the lads, that it's mentally exhausting when you've got a man disadvantage and you're playing against a team that, despite their league position, is still got what I would consider superior quality to Sunderland, even though I don't think we're a bad team by any means. Now, I could be wrong on this, to end the video. I could be wrong on this, and the brilliant alt ending, I believe, was the one who said this. So, if you're watching, mate, apologies, to correct me in the comments below if I've got this wrong. But I believe the stat apparently is that if you get at least 8 points from the first 5 games, you don't get relegated. Now, Sunderland are the ones who are good at breaking records like this, so I'm not going to get too carried away with that. If statistically that is true and it follows suit, we should be fine this season. But again, remember, there's a long way to go. But the last 2 games for me, against Palace and against Villa, have shown, despite Villa's league position, despite their start, that we've drawn against 2 very good sides, one of which away from home, who have played really, really good stuff, but who had a good number of chances themselves, and then today with 10 men for 2/3 of the game. So I'm very proud of the lads for that, and I think if you offered me 7 points from the opening 3 home games, I'd have been over the moon with it at the start. Look, guys, I'll love you and leave you. There is a long way to go, of course, but we'll wait and see what happens. Anyways, I am going to Forest next week, so let's hope we can get a first away win, and I need to see us win away in the Premier League. Will that happen? Can't have nice things, so who knows? We'll wait and see. But anyway, guys, I will love you and leave you there. If you're watching the video, you're new to the channel and you haven't subbed and you think I've earned it, hit the sub button. As Sean Middleton always says, it's absolutely free, doesn't cost a penny. And yeah, respectfully comment below, like, share the video around if you would. That'd be much appreciated. And until the next one, away the lads. Oh, and very quickly, thanks to everybody who supported me on the Midweek Mackham video podcast with Mike and Wayne and Conrad. It was brilliant. I think we're looking to try and do these on a more regular basis. And to the person who drew the picture of us, brilliant. You were one talented individual. Take care, you lovely lot. Stay safe, and I'll see you all later.